12 must-have mounting and lighting accessories. I've done this video probably like 20 times right now because I keep saying monopod. I'm gonna stop saying monopod and try to say monopod. Anyway, the items that we're talking about in this video are just really handy-dandy thingamajigs to have with you, whether you're shooting on location or in the studio and so forth. Let's start from the top. So in terms of, well, basically we separated these out in terms of mounting solutions, and then we have kind of must-have purchase anywhere type lighting accessories down here below. So starting with mounting solutions, we have a lot of extra tripod plates just around the studio, okay? We have tons of spares, one, because we lose them frequently, and two, because pretty much everything in this entire industry uses the 1/4-20 screw mount as basically the standard, okay? So that means it's a 1/4 inch in diameter, and it basically has 20 threads. So we call them 1/4-20s. That's what you find on your tripod plates. This is basically the standard plate that you'd find, like say on a Benro S4 monopod with a video head, as well as Manfrotto tripods and so forth. This is the Arca Swiss plate. They call these DP70s. You can pick these up off of Amazon, but this is just a standard Arca Swiss plate that's like 10 bucks. We have lots of these, again, around the studio because we use them with our Benro, or sorry, not our Benro, our MePhoto tripods. So we have a bunch of these. Why? Because not only are they useful for mounting, say, your camera, they also are incredibly useful for mounting lighting accessories. So for example, let's say I forgot my light stand, but I do happen to have my Benro tripod. And the Benro tripod has this little guy on it. Well, I can grab this. This is basically the 1/4-20 brass spigot, okay? So it's a spigot that I can stick right onto here to basically adapt this. And actually what I'll do is actually that one's fine. So I can pop this right onto the end of my plate, and now I can actually mount a lighting accessory right onto my tripod. So I can put an umbrella bracket right onto this. So it makes for a very handy kind of device just to have around, these tripod plates and so forth. All right, so let's talk about the next item, which was the item that I just mounted on there, which is this little brass spigot. Now these spigots are, again, one of those items that we just have like an entire bin of, and we have a whole variety of these different spigots basically. So basically we have, like usually most stands will have a slightly larger mount to it. So it's basically a larger thread size, and you can mount these spigots to that, and then it adapts it to a 1/4-20. So this is a female 1/4-20 on this side. This is adapting to a male 1/4-20 on this side. So for example, I can use one of these spigots to adapt this, and now it can fit any 1/4-20. If I wanted to, I could put a camera directly onto this. But let's say, for example, this Cheetah head, this Cheetah 3, basically hot shoe little bracket, this has a 1/4-20 in the bottom of it. So now I can take that and attach it directly to my light stand. So brass spigots are just handy devices because you're gonna find that you oftentimes are gonna need to convert these little basically threads to whatever size that you need. And more often than not, it's gonna be to a 1/4-20. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this off. Next, another handy dandy item to have are these Westcott umbrella brackets. Now you can buy general brackets for 10 bucks. They do tend to break, but like I said, I'm not gonna beat you over the head with this. We buy the Westcott $30 ones because they're very well made. And this is actually one of the cheap ones that we had lying around the studio that I just happened to grab. That's all right. We're trying to finish breaking them all so we can just start using only the Westcotts. So this just mounts directly to any standard stand. You can also put this directly onto a C stand. You can put it wherever you want. But it'll basically allow you to now mount a flash, a umbrella bracket. You can put the Westcott Apollo softboxes onto it, or an umbrella onto it, whatever you need to, onto this guy. All right, next we have two little items here that are very similar in function. We have a Westcott triple threat, and we have the Cheetah 3-light hot shoe. So this is the Cheetah 3-light hot shoe bracket, and we have the Westcott triple threat, which is a cold shoe bracket. These two items are virtually identical. They're gonna mount to a 1/4-20. So basically you can put them right here on the end of, a stand with a 1/4-20 adapter. And they're gonna allow you to mount up to 3 flashes, basically. We have 3 flashes on each side of these. Now the difference between these two is this one's 30 bucks and this one's 50 bucks. Why is this one 50 bucks? Well, because this guy is what we refer to as a hot shoe bracket, meaning there is a little port on here. So let me just show you. I can grab one of my hot shoe cables. Whatever, we'll grab this guy. Was that the guy that I wanted? Yeah, whatever. It's not the cable that I wanted, but it still has a 3.5 millimeter. So I can put this onto a stand, put 3 flashes onto this, And then I can pop a cable right here into the 3.5mm port. I can hook this up now to a Pocket Wizard, and now it's going to fire all 3 flashes with a single Pocket Wizard. So now I don't need 3 Pocket Wizards for all 3 of these flashes. I just need 1, and it's going to fire all of them. That's why it's known as a hot shoe bracket, versus this one is a cold shoe bracket, because it doesn't do any hot shoe triggering, basically. Okay, so if you're using, like, let's say we're using the Photix Metros Plus. Those have their own built-in radios. If you have a flash system that has their own built-in radios, you don't need this guy. But, and so therefore, just save the 20 bucks and get the Westcott triple thread. But if you do use Pocket Wizards, then grab this guy, because for the 50 bucks, it's going to save you from having to have 3 Pocket Wizards, which is 450 bucks of Pocket Wizards, basically. All right, so let's go on to the next thing. I have Logan, who's going to give me my Profoto RFI speed ring. This is another fantastic little item, and we're going to show you a full setup with this later on in this chapter. But this is our favorite medium strobe adapter ring, basically. Why? Because we can adapt to any Profoto modifier. It fits onto a standard stand, so we can put this onto a C stand, we can put it onto just a little light stand like this, we can fit it onto anything. And it has this adjustability or flexibility in where we place the flashes. So it'll basically, this can accommodate like the Bolt VB22s, these gigantic flashes. It can accommodate 2 of them. Or we can also have smaller flashes, and it has this little T-ring setup where basically we can place the flashes right here. I can adjust the height of them, and then I can adjust these in and out to make sure that they fit completely inside of the modifier. So it's a fantastic modifier, and it's 175 bucks, but this is one of those items that you only buy once. You don't need to ever buy this again because it's extremely well made. So there's certain items that we would always say, you know, with an umbrella bracket, fine, buy a 10-buck one because, you know, who cares if it breaks? Although I'd still recommend buying something nicer, because who cares? Like, if it's 30 bucks, what's the difference? And if it lasts you and it saves you from a headache from having to buy it again. But with certain items like this, treat them as investments, because these are things that you only buy once and they're gonna stay and work for you for a very long time. Let's keep going. We have our A clamps. I'm gonna give this back to you so it doesn't sit here and block the entire screen. Thank you, Logan. Can I have your hand so I can clamp it? I'm just kidding. You don't need it. Were you willing to do that? Yeah? Does that hurt?
No, not really.
No? I'll let go?
A little bit now.
Oh. Don't get me in trouble for that. Okay, so A-clamps. A-clamps you can pick up from Home Depot. These guys are $2 to $3 a piece. They have them in varying sizes. We have a few different sizes. This is a standard size that we buy. We also buy one smaller version because the smaller variants of this are fantastic for clothing. So they're really great to like pin your clothing. And I forgot to pin my shirt right now because this shirt is too big. Okay, so with A-clamps, they're just amazing devices for attaching modifiers to whatever you need to attach it to. Okay, so Logan, why don't you hand me one of these little gobos, and let me raise this guy up just a bit. So let's say that I don't have a specific stand that I can mount, well, this guy too. Let's say I don't have like that reflector stand, right? But I do happen to have a light stand, and I want to place this in a certain position, and I want to shoot through it. Well, I can just use my A-clamp to just basically clamp right to the rod, and now I'm good to go. Like these they can hold quite a bit of weight. So they're very, very functional, and we'll have, you know, roughly 8 to 16 of them anywhere on set, and we keep like 16 to 30 of them inside the studio because we use them for virtually everything. So have A-clamps. They're very inexpensive, very worthwhile, and definitely worth having. All right, the next thing, this should go without saying, is gaffer's tape. Gaffer's tape is a type of masking tape that is used on production sets. Why? Because it doesn't leave residue. So I can tape down cables, I can tape the modifiers up to stands. It's not gonna leave residue on those stands when I pull the tape off, like say duct tape would. All right, so fantastic little device. Fantastic little tape here. Okay, let's go on to stand bags. All right, and Logan, while I'm on this, can you prep the diffusion cloth, the black cloth, and I think we're all out of Mylar. We can have those guys ready. So a sandbag. Sandbags are, again, must-have items, especially when you're dealing with larger modifiers, when you're working outdoors, even when you're working indoors. You need to place sandbags on the legs of your stands to make sure that they're not going to tip over. Now, this is even more important when you're working in locations like near the beach, because anything that you set up, any modifier that you put up is going to act like a giant sail. So you might need multiple sandbags. Now, this sandbag is currently empty. This is just a spare one that we had lying around. But what I would recommend when you fill your sandbags is use like a double bagged Ziploc bag. So when you go to the beach or whenever you go somewhere to fill up your sand, right? Put your sand into a Ziploc bag, put another Ziploc bag in that, and then place them inside of the zipper pockets on these guys. Why? Because when that sand, if one of those bags breaks, you don't necessarily want sand leaking out of these bags. And it's also a pain in the butt to clean up. If you ever want to, take the sand out for some particular reason, like if you ever want to go and take these to a location shoot, like you're traveling somewhere, you're most likely going to empty this, because why would you carry like 30 pounds of sand in your luggage? So you'll empty this, and then once you get there, you'll fill it back up. So having the Ziploc bags keeps it just more clean. It's just cleaner. It's just a little, this is just a tip from me to you. From me, my house, to your house. Here you go, Logan. Catch, buddy. That was a terrible catch. All right. Let's get the diffusion cloth. So we talked about this in the last video. Diffusion cloth, again, one of those things you can pick up at any local craft store. Craft, cloth, whatever store. We mention it again here. We mentioned diffusion cloth, black cloth, and Mylar blankets because, well, they are light modifiers. So they could have gone in the last video, but they're also not necessarily the most portable light modifiers. The last video was really all about ultra portable light modifiers. When you're dealing with stuff like this, you're going to need stands. You're going to need a lot of stands to be able to mount and to be able to hold these types of things up. And so they become not really the most portable solutions, but they're still fantastic light modifiers. So we have white for diffusion and for reflection if we need to. We also have black. Do we have black anywhere? Let's see, where is our black? Oh, we've hung our black over here to block off the background, basically. But black cloth is, again, great for flagging. Flagging is when you need to stop light. We want light to no longer travel to certain areas of our image, so we'd flag off that light. And then also we have the Mylar blanket. So again, hand me that gobo right there. So with a Mylar blanket, you can use it as a reflective source. You can use it in a whole number of ways, or you can, like, say, cut it up and make things like this, like our DIY gobo. So Mylar blankets are fantastic, again, to have around the studio. Again, these guys are like 10 bucks from Home Depot. Just very inexpensive items that you'll find are very useful when it comes to mounting lights or when it comes to modifying lights. Hopefully this video helped you all out. Let's go ahead and move to the next one now.